particular bit of trivia aside. You know, the nice thing about the common law is it's full of anachronisms and what have you, which make it interesting, at least from the internal players in the game. Perhaps to outsiders it may justify what who is it? Pickwick, actually, among the places in Dickens, but he says the law is an ass, said in several of Dickens' works. But anyway, they didn't get anywhere. The court said, no, nothing to it. They tried to make it as an antitrust violation. You see that there was a concert of action by the automobile companies to create this terrible situation. The court said no. There's a case now pending in Alaska, or from Alaska, which is more akin to what we are discussing. And the plaintiffs in that action are a small tribe of Indians, about 400 people, and a city, Kavlina, or something like that, who are on a spit of land, which is at the mouth of a river in Alaska that empties into the Arctic Ocean. And the problem is that with the rise of the sea level, the island is starting to become uninhabitable. It's also becoming uninhabitable quicker because with the melting of the sea ice, there's less of a buffer between the island and the wind and whatever else comes in the winter during a very severe winter, which they have in that part of Alaska. So the island will shortly become totally uninhabitable. And they brought in action seeking enormous amount of damages because they realized there's nothing you can do to keep the island from not floating away or being overwhelmed. But anyway, the court threw it out again on the ground that the action was against ExxonMobil and all the other oil companies who are prospecting and in Alaska or sell their gasoline and fuel oil in Alaska, etc. The court threw it out on the grounds that the causation wasn't all that clear, that the companies were responsible for all what was happening, or that it wouldn't have happened anyway. But the bigger issue was the one that is germane to the major issue we're talking about, is the court says that the criteria are just too vague. He says there's no way that the woman was the judge, she said there was no way that I can decide this sort of question, at least no legal way that I can. And therefore she threw the case out. The case is now on appeal in the Ninth Circuit, and I would expect that she would be affirmed, but I can't tell you that for sure. If it's overturned, or regardless of whether it's overturned, it may get to the Supreme Court of the United States. But at the moment, it's on appeal. So let me then sum up, because I see my time is up. But since I'm allowed, this is a country which is a little loose on, which is a nice thing about Greece, on law enforcement. And so I will continue. That's right. I think that's really the gist of the matter, No one appointed judges, at least as far as I'm concerned, to remake the world. And in a free society, I think that has to be done by some more democratic process. And I must say, because I do work on comparative human rights adjudication, a world in which ostensibly there are universal human rights, or at least an area of the world where there are universal human rights, to wit Europe, in which a woman can wear a burqa in the United Kingdom, but may be unlawful to do so in public in France in April, or it's likely to be unlawful to do so in Belgium, or that you can deny the Holocaust in London, but you can't do it in Paris or Berlin, makes you think maybe Cicero had something when he said there cannot be one law in Athens and another law in Rome. So let me leave that as my own point. You need some more direct guidance to the courts. You can't engage in what is a constant political maneuver in all countries to try to think you solve serious problems by enunciating broad nostrums and then throwing it up to the courts to sort it out. People have to take responsibility for what they do. They have to be prepared to stick their necks out and fight the fight in order to get it through. They may not get much through, but at least they can get agreement on what's going to go through. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.